Okay, let's go ahead and get this started. Gonna give it a minute to let people come in. Yeah, I said I was gonna start at 3. It's 2:58 now. Okay, I'm having some problems here. So I always like to start a little early. Turn this down all the way. Just checking my audio. My phone, hold on. Yeah, yeah, the stream's way behind. Let's see what happens when I... Is there a way I can clear this? See what happens when I clear the alert box out. Alright, well, it's just a still image that I'm going to be using. Let me know if the audio is all clear. Anyone in the chat? Anyone in the chat at all? Okay, it seems clear on my end. Nobody is answering me. But so, Demon Slayer ended, aka Kimetsu no Yaiba. Uh oh boy, where do we even begin? Apparently it ended like a week ago. I just read the final chapter yesterday, I think. I took a break from working on Summer of Love. I was like, you know what? I haven't checked on Demon Slayer in a while. I wonder if the last chapter of that has aired yet. Uh, I'm just right now. I'm used to all my shonens, taking a break because of everything that's going on in the world. A lot of things are getting delayed, and a lot of things are having slower release schedules. Like, oh my god, One Piece. Oda came out and said that, like, yeah, we're gonna be taking even more frequent breaks. Like, you're already basically bi-weekly at this point. Fucking One Piece going monthly apparently. Ah. The worst thing about this whole COVID situation is things getting delayed and stuff. Quintessential Quintuplet Season 2 getting delayed to January right after. Literally, there was a comment on my last Quintuplets video asking me if Season 2 was going to get delayed again. And I said that if it was going to get delayed, they probably would have said something by now. So I don't think it is. Literally, like 2 hours later, 2 hours after I say that, the news breaks that got delayed. Uh, anyway, We're not here to talk about One Piece or quintuplets. We're here to talk about Demon Slayer because I had a lot of problems with this manga. Uh, and I guess first things first. Almost every single one of the complaints I'm going to state throughout this stream, uh, are only problems in the manga and the way that the manga medium works. Uh, these are not complaints for the anime. In fact, hopefully, I will be able to get kind of the point across to just how much work Studio Ufotable had to put into Demon Slayer to make it look anywhere near as good as it did. The Demon Slayer anime is really good. I still think the story is really thin and a little bit repetitive, maybe a little bit. It gets a lot worse in the manga. In fact, I'd almost say stay away from season 2. Like, just watch highlights on YouTube when it comes out. Uh, because the story doesn't really go anywhere after season 1. Like, one cool thing happens, which is going to be in the movie. And then after that, it's just on rails, really repetitive up to the end. Uh, but Ufotable, they took the seasonal approach to Shonen Jump adaptations that was pioneered by My Hero Academia, and they kicked it up a notch, and they really outdid Studio Bones. Like, comparing Demon Slayer to My Hero Academia season 3, I think it was coming out around the time that I think Demon Slayer came out between MHA seasons. Like, I don't think MHA was not on at any point in time that Demon Slayer was. Like like season 3 of MHA ended in like February. Demon Slayer started in like April and then ended in like August, and then My Hero Academia picked back up in October. I think that was the release schedule. I'm just kind of going off the top of my head. But the point was that, like, Demon Slayer's art, animation, sound design, and even voice acting, so long as you're in the subs, uh, blows My Hero Academia out of the water. The only points where it doesn't blow My Hero Academia out of the water are with the just general writing, characters, story, plot line, stuff like that, and music probably. I think My Hero Academia has an overall better soundtrack, maybe, and then dubs. Demon Slayer has a decent dub. I do not like the voice actor they got for Inosuke. I think they should have went with Josh Grell or someone like that. Can you turn up your voice? No, I actually can't. I'm almost peaking on OBS. You can probably turn up the gain on my mic, but air conditioning is kind of on right now, so like you can probably hear it when I'm not talking. Uh, anyway. Uh, yeah, I don't like the dub actor for Inosuke. Apparently, he did Kirito in the dub. He's just not a good actor. They should have went with someone who could actually do the more gravelly voice that Inosuke has, or that I actually. No, at least get someone that's kind of close to what he sounds like in the Japanese version. And apparently, I might be wrong on this. I'm pretty sure that the Japanese voice actor is the same one who does Kirito and Futaro. Kirito from SAO and Futaro from Quintessential Quintuplets. The original Japanese actors for those. So I think they should have went with Josh Grell for the dub if they could have gotten him. They might not have been able to because I don't know if it was Funimation doing the dub for Demon Slayer. But yeah, you get my point. Demon Slayer, really good anime. Manga, no. It does not utilize any of the strengths of the manga. Of the manga medium. Uh, Bryce Papenbrook is the McDonald's of English voice actors. I don't even. I guess that's the guy who does like Kirito and Inosuke, but like, I'll take your word for it because that's a good insult. Uh, so I actually had kind of a list of kind of points. It was Viz who did the dub. Yeah, that I don't think they could have gotten Josh Grell in the booth then. Uh, Not to say that there's not crossovers between Funimation and Viz, but like, the studios are in different places. Uh, so Josh Grell was busy at all, then he wouldn't have been able to make it up to Viz's studio. He could have phoned in lines, but I don't like when actors phone in lines. You can kind of tell. You can tell a lot of the times when they're phoning in lines, they don't get that chemistry with the other actors. So ultimately, there's a couple minor problems I have with Demon Slayer, and I'll get to all of them. But the main thing I wanted to kind of get across is that it is a very stagnant and nothing burger of a series. Uh, no, the character designs are alright. So the character designs I think are hit or miss. I tend to not like overly designed characters, so I don't like the sound pillar guy. I don't like the love pillar girl. Uh, the wind pillar guy is okay. Um, most other most other characters that would have that kind of design, I take issue with, but there's actually a really cool plot relevant reason why he has all the scars and stuff. Like his fighting style is actually to get himself kind of beat up because his blood is like catnip for demons. I thought that was a really cool idea. I thought that was a really cool idea, and it took like the like grizzled scarred dude that you see in a lot of anime, and actually like gave a pretty cool reason for why he is the way he is. Uh, and of course, like the demons, they're it's fine with them being uh over designed because they're monsters. But like I don't like Love Pillar Girl's hair. I don't like the two toned hair that a lot of anime do. I don't like it when they do that. So like uh Love Pillar Girl's hair, Fire Pillar guy's hair, Nezuko's hair, just not my thing. I get it, whatever, but like to me that always comes off as try hard and over designed. Uh and so then so that was one issue I kind of always had. Uh but the issue, the main issue is its repetition. Yeah. Uh so I'm going to have to draw a lot of comparisons to other series because that's the only way I could really rationalize why this bothered me so much. It's the various arcs are okay at best in a vacuum, but as part of an ongoing series, there's nothing there. At the end of the day, none of the characters learn anything. None of the characters have any real impact on each other. They only grow and develop physically. You know, they get their scars, they get their new powers, and then nothing else. There's a few exceptions, and they tend to be the characters I really like Kanoe, the flower girl, the flower pillar, the well insect pillar's pupil, uh, the one who actually ends up killing Domu alongside Inosuke. Uh, let's say Zenetsu, I thought that his arc was developed enough. I felt like they overplayed his cowardice a little bit at the end. Um, it kind of made it feel like it reverted, but he at least had an arc, so I liked him. Uh, Inosuke is cool in concept, and even so, even a little bit in execution. But therein kind of lies another issue with this and a lot of shonen action series, which is style over substance. Inosuke is 100% style. From the way he acts, his personality, the way he looks with the mask, it's all style. But he doesn't go through an arc. He doesn't change really. He becomes more friendly, but that's such a bog standard Barney the dinosaur level lesson that you can't give credit. You don't get bonus points for having a bog standard arc like that. Uh, you know, uh, Tanjiro as a lead, he's not the worst lead I've seen. He's not as bad as Natsu from Fairy Tail or Ichigo from Bleach. He at least has a goal. His goal is to uh, make Nezuko human again. And he does stuff. He strives for that goal. He has his moral compass. He has all the like kind of benchmarks of a good character, except he doesn't grow or change. Uh, the only time he's kind of confronted with change is when Rengoku, the fire pillar, dies. But even this, like, Tajiro's seen people die before. He's seen that demon slayers aren't infallible. The only impact it really has is that it's a pillar. Uh, like sorry, sinus problems. Uh, so the only thing that makes Rengoku's death different from all the nameless pillars from the prior arc with the spider guys is the fact that he's supposed to be this like really powerful guy, and even that it doesn't really work because he manages to win against Lower Moon One, the most powerful Lower Moon, who had just gotten a power boost from Muzan. He kills them, and then he is still able to go toe to toe with Akaza, Upper Moon 3, the fourth most powerful demon. And so, like, it really creates this thing where, like, if Rengoku was able to fight Akaza fairly, if he wasn't wounded or anything, he would have won. And it actually kind of lowers the stakes by trying to up the stakes the way it did. And that really bothered me. And that's what I actually started thinking. Because I watched the anime first. I watched the anime with... Well, I'm not going to get into that. But I watched the anime, liked it just fine, liked it enough to where I checked out the manga, and I got to that part of the manga, which is, it's literally the next arc. It's going to be what's in the movie. And there was something, I didn't feel anything for Ringoku because of that. And that continued. As the story went on, I became more and more aware of how little the characters were changing and how little impact all the events were having. Yeah, that's what I said. Like, the only difference between Rengoku and those nameless demon slayers is that Rengoku is a pillar. That's the only difference. So let's talk about that kind of story structure, because it's literally training arc, demon hunt arc, training arc, demon hunt arc, rinse, lather, repeat until the end. And whatever, simple story, I like Detective Conan, and Detective Conan is even more redundant and repetitive and has been going on for way longer. But Detective Conan has a really good formula. Demon Slayer has a formula that it ripped off from other shonen series. Not to say that Detective Conan didn't rip off like other detective series, but for a shonen Jump title, it's pretty novel. I'm gonna crack open the soda. Give you some ASMR. Because ultimately, it's never about how long or short a series is. It's about how that time is utilized. Uh, and to put this into perspective, I kind of took notes on this earlier today while preparing for this. There are 205 chapters in Demon Slayer. Uh, Over a third of them are the final arc. Proportionally, that is a higher percentage of time than Naruto put in its final arc. Naruto went for 700 chapters, and about the last 170 of them were the final arc. You know, from the time that the war really started to the end was about 170 chapters, which was the little less than 2/7 of the full thing. Whereas, Demon Slayer, we're talking 2/6. An entire third dedicated to just that final arc, and it's just fighting. At the end of the day, this is a story about people fighting and some of them dying with no impact whatsoever. Like, it just, characters come, they have their action beats, and then they go. And that's it. So, for perspective, 205 chapters. By chapter 205, Naruto is about halfway through the Sasuke retrieval arc. In Naruto, we had already had the introduction. We had the Land of Waves arc, which was a standard mission gone horribly, horribly wrong, that pushed the characters forward and forced Naruto kind of, it showed what the wider world of Naruto was like outside the relatively peaceful Leaf Village, and how the shinobi economy worked, and how the cycle of vengeance really starts. And then it did the Chunin exams, where we got to see a bunch of new colorful characters, and they all got to have arcs and personalities and goals and motivations and belief systems. And then we had the Konoha invasion arc, where everything kind of came to a boil, and then we had, after that we had the Search for Tsunade arc. We got a complete and utter status quo change. We got a new Hokage. Like, there's nothing like that in Demon Slayer. And I'm talking like, it's not fair to compare Demon Slayer's 205 chapters to Naruto's 700. I'm comparing Demon Slayer's 205 chapters to Naruto's first 150. I'm comparing Demon Slayer to My Hero Academia's first 100. By chapter 100 of My Hero Academia, we were like, I think that was when All Might was fighting, All for One. But by chapter 205 of My Hero Academia, we were having the Class 1A versus Class 1B arc. Now, I looked it up. Like, chapter 205 is when Todoroki, like, unleashes all of his power against Tetsu. By chapter 205 of Bleach, we were in the Arrancar arc. We had already had all the introduction to all the characters and all the Soul Reaper stuff. We had the entire Soul Reaper saga, and we were well into the next saga with the Arrancars. By chapter 205 of One Piece, which I would argue is a very padded manga with a lot of stuff that could probably be cut if not for world building stuff. Chapter 205 of One Piece, we were having Luffy versus Crocodile. We were wrapping up the Alabasta saga. So again, like, I'm not comparing, the development of Demon Slayer's characters against the almost 1,000 chapters of One Piece. I'm just comparing Demon Slayer's development to the development of the One Piece characters within the first 200 chapters of One Piece, and One Piece isn't even a character-centric story. It's also a very stagnant story when it comes to character, but the plot and the world and the setting is constantly changing and constantly in flux around them, and they're constantly reacting to completely new situations, completely new genres sometimes. Now, Naruto and One Piece, they go through these massive genre shifts where they become kind of completely different shows for a little bit. There's a bit in Naruto where Naruto just even stops being relevant and starts focusing on Shikamaru. We don't get anything like that in Demon Slayer. Makito Breddies asked, do you think Nezuko was underused? On the whole, probably not. In the final arc, absolutely. The fact that she rolls in as a last minute Deus Ex fucking Machina, I'll get to that fucking tidbit in a minute. Because, okay, so, in case you forgot, or in case you don't know, in case you don't care, in case you haven't read the manga and don't care about spoilers, or if you read it in bulk, or if you're a little bit behind, or just don't remember what happened a couple chapters ago. Muzan basically gets defeated, and then infects Tanjiro. But by that point, we already know Nezuko is on the way, and she has been on her way ever since Tanjiro got put in dire straits to begin with. So we're just, checking our watches, wondering when Nezuko is going to show up and save the day, and she does. Right before there can be any actual tension. Long after the tension could have already passed. Things were already starting to stabilize by that point. And while I'm on that subject, one of the things that really bothered me about Demon Slayer, and it's something I actually noticed in the anime. It's something I kind of took issue with when I was first watching the anime, but it didn't. I kind of just hand waved it, and I kind of just didn't mind as much, so long as it was like that one instance, and that is the prevalence of ghosts. There's a lot of instances where Tanjiro gets, beaten down or is up against the wall or in dire straits, and then a Deus Ex Machina, and I'm not using that term lightly. I'm talking a literal Deus coming out to the literal plot machine, a literal ghost coming down and being like, "Don't die, don't sleep." On the train, there's ghosts that help wake Tanjiro up. When Tanjiro gets hit by Muzan's poison, it's ghosts that give him the will to live and give him the strength and give him the power, and it happens almost every time without fail, to the point where one of the chapters ended on a cliffhanger with Tanjiro getting hit, and I made a joke like, "Oh man, I can't wait for fucking Deus Ex Machina to completely undo this new development." And what do you know it? Literally next chapter that happens. Like, it cheapens everything, and that's the story in a nutshell. It is really cheap. Everything is cheap. Like, I get simplicity. I get the appeal of simplicity. And this is a very simple story. But that is just cheap. Like, it's not simple. It's actually convoluted the way they handle it a lot of times. And I don't get it. This is the best-selling manga of 2019. This outsold One Piece for several months. Uh, this is, I think, as of right now, it's the highest selling manga of 2020. This is the anime that broke the internet. And I don't get it. I get the appeal of Naruto. I get the appeal of One Piece. Now, I get the appeal of Attack on Titan. I hate Attack on Titan, but I get the appeal. I hate Sword Art Online, but I get the appeal. I've went on record numerous times lambasting Devilman Crybaby for being try-hard edgy bullshit. But I get the appeal. I get why people like it. I get why people would praise it. I don't get the appeal of Demon Slayer. There is nothing that this series does better than anything else. Every single thing I can think of, Naruto did it better. One Piece does it better. Dragon Ball does it better. One Piece does it better. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure does it better. There's a lot of things. You know, most of the things, My Hero Academia is doing it better currently. There's a couple things that I think Bleach does better, and that I think Black Clover does better, and that I think Boruto does better. Boruto is a shameless ass cash grab, fan wanking Naruto. And there's things that Boruto does better than Demon Slayer. Example, Sumire. Sumire's arc in the Boruto anime is actually really endearing and really heartfelt, and her backstory is really kind of fucked up, but, you know, she goes through an arc and learns to be a better person and ends up becoming one of the stronger heroes in Boruto's corner. That's more than you get in this, in Demon Slayer. And there's a lot of redundancies in the characters. And I made a tweet earlier talking about, like, maturity, depth, and nuance, and subtlety. Let's talk about let's run through the demons of Demon Slayer to kind of highlight how this is overly simplistic and how it doesn't really address any of the questions inherent to the premise. So this story is ostensibly about a young man try to change his sister from a demon to a human. The comparison I drew in my mind was with Fullmetal Alchemist, where Edward is trying to get Alphonse's body back. If you recall in Fullmetal Alchemist, there's a situation in Laboratory 5 where Edward is confronted with a serial killer named Slicer, who is also two disembodied souls inhabiting a suit of armor, just like Alphonse. And Edward treats them with respect and says something along the lines of, I'm not up on the Boruto manga. I kind of fell away from it when it was just rehashing the movie. I watched quite a bit of the anime though. Sorry, I saw the Boruto comment and I kind of lost my train of thought. Yeah. So Edward says something along the lines like he has to kind of respect Slicer's humanity. He has to treat him like he would any other person, no kill rule included, because if he just treats Slicer like a monster because of his situation, then it would be like treating Alphonse like a monster. There's a little bit of lip service to that in Demon Slayer, with some of the early demons being about more human, where like yeah, every single demon used to be human once upon a time, and a lot of them were changed against their wills. And Tanjiro early on hasn't kind of come to grips with that. That like his sister is special, which by the way, it never explains what makes Nezuko special or why she's able to resist the bloodlust or why she's able to conquer the sun by the end. It never explain never even tries explaining any of that. It's just because plot because the plot demanded it. Uh but in terms of those parallels, Demon Slayer constantly undercuts that. The first time it really undercuts that is with the Spider Kid, Lower Moon 5, I think was his rank. Uh, that fight that broke the internet. Yeah, he's kind of a nothing character. Like they try to build these parallels between like him and Tanjiro with family and how Spider Kid just wants to have a family but he doesn't understand what it is, and you're like, this guy used to be human, right? He doesn't remember. He doesn't remember how family is supposed to treat each other. Like he doesn't get it. Like it really shows. Like with Nezuko, they try to show like the humanity of demons. Like these all used to be humans, but with every other demon, it's like it only focuses on their difference. It does that with Spider Kid. It does that with the next boss after him, which are actually no, next boss was Lower Moon 1 with the train, and he's just a sociopath. Yeah, he is just a one note sociopathic villain who likes to torture people with dreams. Uh, then the next boss after that is Upper Moon 6, which is the twins or the siblings. I don't remember if they were actually twins. Um, and it tries building this parallel where their siblings, Tanjiro and Nezuko are siblings. They had to fight them together, siblings versus siblings. But the way that they treat each other is so different from Tanjiro and Nezuko that it portrays one as very human and the other as just monsters that happen to be related to each other. And I felt that was fucking weak. And then after them, you had Upper Moon 5 and 4, who I don't remember anything about their personalities. I remember one was like in a jar, and the other one had 4 different forms. So kind of the same gimmick as the brother and sister. Uh, yeah, they weren't twins. Yeah, I didn't think they were. You had to kill. They had to kill them at the same time though, because they could heal each other. Um. But anyway, so you had them. And then after Upper Moon 5 and 4, you had that was when the final arc started, the Infinity Fortress, which is a pretty fucking cool idea for a setting, by the way. I actually really liked the way that this arc began. It just kind of like ramp it up, and then they kind of kick Muzan's ass, but then they all get separated. They all have to like try to race to get back to Muzan before he's at full power. Even though in the back of your mind you're like, yeah, there's no way they're gonna get there in time because a plot, and that's just it would just be a better story if they get there too late. And that's exactly what happened, so I can't really fault it for that. What I can fault it for is how long these fights go. A lot of these fights go on for way too long. It's why this whole final arc feels just really, really bloated. Like I said, it takes up like over a third of the entire manga, and half of that is just the Muzan fight alone. Uh, so you had Upper Moon 3, who I really liked, Akaza. I liked him enough to actually remember his name. Akaza, also his name is just a pretty simple name to remember, you know. Uh, but I liked him, and I like the little bit of development he gets after his death. I think it's after his death. When Domu, another one I kind of like, Upper Moon 2 is Domu. I liked him enough to remember his name. No, Domu is talking to the Shinobu or whoever he's fighting at the time, and he's like, yeah, I'm not as old as Akaza, but the reason why I rank higher than him is because he won't eat women or children. So it provides like a little bit of, post-mortem subtext to the way Akaza operates. And it kind of dawned on me thinking about it, where like, the most interesting demon in the entire show, the one who has the most personality, maybe personality is using the term too lightly, the one who has the most development, the one who feels the most fleshed out, is basically a Dragon Ball character. Like, his whole motivation is that he just wants to get strong so that he can be the strongest person that ever lived. He wants to eventually one day surpass Muzan. And that's just Goku. Like, I've said some bad things about Dragon Ball in the past. I've said a lot of good things about Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball is a pretty mixed bag, but it's one that I really loved and enjoyed. But the fact that, the demon equivalent of Goku is outshining this very extensive cast is worrying. Then you had Domu, who was just a sociopath. And it actually, like, just this thing where, like, humans are the real monsters, which I'm kind of getting a little sick and tired of. Devilman Crybaby kind of ruined that whole theme for me. Then you have, I remember, like, kind of how his name looked. Upper Moon 1. The one with all the eyes and the samurai sword, who actually used to be a demon slayer. The only reason why I don't remember his name is because it's got a lot of K's, and it's a very weird name. It's one of those names that just doesn't really stick with me. Nothing as much against the character. I think he's kind of boring, though. He's kind of typical right-hand man, henchman type with Muzan, and there's not much differentiating him from Akaza, personality-wise. But I kind of liked how they made it out to where he was, kokushibo. Yeah. Like, even trying to read it, I don't even know. They have Muzan. Oh, actually, one other note, Kokushibo. I kind of liked that they made it to where his whole reason for being a demon is because he was jealous of his brother. Like, that's actually kind of a cool reason to become a demon. No, he just wanted to be stronger and stronger. He was kind of jealous of his brother's abilities, and he thought the only way to surpass him was to become this immortal monster, and even then he just couldn't ever beat him. No matter how many bodies he consumed, no matter how many souls he devoured, no matter how much time passed or how much he trained, he just could never beat the raw talent that his brother had. Just read your comments. Rui killed his family because he thought they were going to kill him because they didn't love him. Yeah, I don't remember Rui getting a pre-demon backstory. Maybe I'm just not remembering it, which is kind of telling. But yeah, he was so fucking shoehorned in. Yeah, I didn't know his name. I wasn't gonna say anything about him, but since you brought it up, Ash, Kaigaku who only exists for Zenitsu to fight someone, to give Zenitsu someone to fight early on in that arc, completely shoehorned in, and he's just got the same motivation as Kokushibo, and yeah, not good. Uh, then you have Muzan, and Muzan outstays his welcome. I think it was neat to have him show up as early as he did. I think his first appearance is in like chapter 10 or something, something insane. Like even for a story that's going for like 50 chapters, uh, Muzan showed up really early on. Uh, so I thought that I thought it was neat to like. It really showed that this was a manga that wasn't gonna last long. It was just gonna kind of come and go, and didn't have very lofty aspirations except for to just kind of exist to fill out Shonen Jump's pages, and they highlighted that by having, Muzan come into the story so early. And then he doesn't go away. Uh, he just that whole final fight, which again is like almost a quarter of the entire manga, is just people lining up to fight him and then losing, and some of them die. Like, I don't find that compelling. Like maybe I was spoiled on good shows like Full Metal Alchemist. In Full Metal Alchemist you have Father, and he lasts a long time, and everyone gets to take a shot at him and take a piece of him, but it takes all of them working together, and Father kind of earns it with how long Full Metal Alchemist happened, and how much he's tied in with everything that happens in the series, good and bad. Muzan, I don't see the same level of connection between him and the various pillars. And so having him fight all these pillars in Tanjiro and all his friends doesn't hit. Yeah, Omni Pepper, if you care about manga spoilers, you should probably go away. Come back once you read the manga, or just crack under the pressure. So I got some DMs from Raymond. Diaco Arts, of course, as always. And with that said, let's transition to the pillars. Because here's the ones that actually matter and that actually have an impact, not on the story, but on Tanjiro as a character. Gyuki, very important. He's the first demon slayer we meet. He sets the skill ceiling. He's the one who gives Tanjiro pats. He's the one who stakes his life on Tanjiro's ability to reel Nezuko in. Very important, very impactful, and I actually really like the gimmick that he's unsure of himself because he feels like he didn't properly pass the Demon Slayer trials when he was younger, even though he's absolutely more than made up for it by this point. I actually really thought that was a cool idea. That's why he's one of my favorite pillars. Ringoku, again, at a minimal impact overall, but he does come back in Tanjiro's thoughts often, and he does instill kind of his sacrificial tendencies. It's really him. One thing that just kind of dawned on me right now, it's really him that convinces Tanjiro that he might have to lay his life on the line to save Nezuko. He might have to sacrifice himself. He and Nezuko might both have to sacrifice themselves before they even get a chance to return her back to normal. Because that's what it takes. That's what it means to be a demon slayer. That's what it means to be a hero. So I'm really cool with Rengoku and the lesson that he kind of instilled. The wind pillar, I'm cool with. Because he started off as an asshole and becomes less of an asshole. It's a very simple arc, but it's an arc. No, it's an arc that actually exists. Then Shinobu, who is best girl and very sweet. She plays doctor and oversees a lot of Tanjiro's more intensive training. None of the other pillars needed to exist. They're all superfluous. They're all just there to have more people to fight the demons. You know, the sound pillar is literally just Ringoku if he had a harem and survived his fight with Akaza. Uh, love pillar is just token big titty anime chick. Uh, the snake pillar is just a simp. The mist pillar is just typical uh, cold and aloof person who doesn't really do anything. Like he's one of the few people that fights multiple people. Like he fights one of the upper moons earlier, about midway through, I guess, and then he also fights upper moon one. I'm literally looking at the name and I still can't pronounce it right. Kokushibo. Kokushibu. Kokushibo. Kokushibo. Kokushibo? Yeah, I'm literally looking at it right now and I still don't know. Uh, damn you, Japan. And then Rock Pillar, he's got a cool gimmick. I'm a sucker for the blind man that has aura sense, basically. I'm a sucker for that trope. Love Daredevil. Uh, he's a badass. I like his weapon. I like how he just fucks Muzan up with it. Uh, a weakened Muzan, albeit, but still, he's a badass. But being a badass isn't a character trait. And I like that he's religious. I actually kind of want to do a video of this later on in the year after Someone We Love. But I really like that he's religious and it doesn't use that as a joke, because I'm kind of sick of people treating religion like it's a joke, and it's something that started really bothering me in media. And I'm starting to get spoiled. No, I rewatched a lot of Fullmetal Alchemist this last week for reasons that you'll see in a few days. But I really like the way that Edward Elric, handles his lack of belief in God, and I like I like pretty much everything about quintessential quintuplets. But one thing that kind of stood out to me on my most recent look at some of the chapters is how religious the girls actually are, how much they are superstitious and stuff. I really like that. I really think that's odd that Japan is having a better grasp on Western religions the last decade or so than Western media. But yeah, there's things I like about Rock Pillar, but he doesn't impact Tanjiro at all. He barely interacts with Tanjiro. Uh, yeah, man, I've been going for almost an hour now. Oh, what else is there to say? I don't find the humor all that funny. Uh, this is something that actually just works better in the anime, because a lot of the humor is in the facial expressions, which in the black and white cluttered pages of the manga, reading it on my phone, doesn't come across as well as it does on my TV screen. Uh, when they also have sound effects accompanying them. So yeah, I don't find a lot of the humor funny in the manga. Again, like some of the gags, I guess, are chuckle worthy, but again, different context. Um, Actually, that kind of highlights something I wanted to say before I wrap it up. Uh, I think this would work better in literally any other medium. I said at the outset that I just don't think it uses the manga medium well. It's too redundant. It's too simplistic. It's too shallow. There's nothing going on under the hood. There's no reason to get invested for a significant amount of time. Uh, it's a very brisk 200 chapters. Uh, no, it's a very brisk 200 chapters, but even comparing it to series of equivalent length, there's nothing really going on there. Nothing really going on under the hood. Even compared to something relatively more simple. Like hate to go back to this again, but quintessential quintuplets. Um, quintessential quintuplets is 122 chapters, and there's a lot more going on character wise, which not a fair comparison because quintessential quintuplets only has the characters in romance, whereas Demon Slayer is supposed to be an action show, so the action is supposed to take the forefront. I don't think the action is all that well drawn. I don't think overall this is a well drawn manga, and this is again like works so much better in animation. Ufotable, hats off to you. I just don't the panel layout, the use of shading, it's very bare bones. Uh, Stanley Janek, did anyone else feel like there was a repetitive cycle of characters showing their backstory and flashbacks and immediately dying? Yeah, that's another trope that this falls back on hard, especially towards the end. Uh, I don't like that trope. I think it's overdone in shonen battle series. Though I would rather have their flashback before they die than after they die. Metal Gear Solid. uh, and also kind of Kaza, just throwing that out there. Uh, well, obviously the swordplay and moves are going to always look better in animation because action in general just lends itself better to a medium with motion. As someone who has written a lot of fight scenes for Rubion, fight scenes are fucking pain in the ass. Uh, like, I actually think that manga is the hardest thing to make fight scenes look good in. Uh, it's kind of a stout, like it kind of is impressive when you do get a genuinely good action scene in a manga. Something like Naruto versus Pain, or no, Deku versus Bakugo, the round two, the one that was in season 3. Uh, so like I'm not holding the kind of stagnant action against the manga as much as I probably could and probably should, just because I haven't read very many manga that do satisfy that for me. Uh, like even like a lot of One Piece or Naruto, like okay, yeah, they're just skimming through it, just yeah, action, whatever. It's not registering. Uh, yeah, that stuff just inherently works better in animation. Um, but yeah, it's not an overall well drawn manga. Dialogue is... Again, I can't judge dialogue because I probably read a jankety translation anyway. Uh, yeah. Yeah, but other manga can look so fluid with the movement. Understand the flow of events, mainly sports. To be honest, yeah, I haven't read any sports manga. Uh, and I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm saying it's really hard to do, especially when you're in black and white, like manga is. Um, like even if it's in color, like Western comic books, it's really hard to get action across in a still frame medium like manga. So I'm really lax when it comes to that. Uh, it's one of those things where like it could very rare. It's very rarely a negative for me, but when you do it well, it's just an absolute positive. Like Luffy versus Katakuri, like Oda really went all out, making that fight flow and be seamless and making everything feel big and impactful. So like Luffy versus Katakuri gets all my praise. So like Luffy versus Foxy, I don't care. I don't mind. It's a pretty bad fight, but like it's a manga. There's not much to expect. Uh, Max Roman said, "You read Chainsaw Man?" No. But I recently found out about Chainsaw Man because Neji Haruba decided to draw one of the characters from Chainsaw Man and posted it on his Twitter. I was like, "Ooh, who's this cutie?" I asked around. I was like, "Oh, it's from Chainsaw Man." Uh, I might give it a read. I don't know. I heard it's pretty like edgy, try hard bullshit, which is I'm kind of sick and tired of. Let's be glad that Tanjiro didn't call Muzan the mass murdering sociopath the best guy he ever knew. Like, yeah, I mean, it never goes that far. Maybe there is something that did better than Naruto. Kind of slipped my mind that that happened. It's just so stupid. Uh, yeah, Kanan and Katakuri is so fucking awesome. Ah, not to completely derail this conversation and make it about One Piece, but it floors me that 850 chapters in, Oda is still able to pull a brand new character like Katakuri, establish him, and within like 20 chapters, give him like one of the best fights in the entire series. Like, how is Oda like just now hitting his peak? Like, the Luffy versus Katakuri is one of the best things to ever happen in One Piece, and it happens over 850 chapters in. It's just so good. Uh, yeah, yeah. So just to wrap it up, because I've been going for over an hour. Demon Slayer is a bad manga. It would work better. It works better as an anime. It would work better as a video game. Actually, I think a Demon Slayer video game would be pretty fucking baller if they could get it right. Like if they can make it like a Devil May Cry style or even like a God of War style. Like I think a Demon Slayer, or even like a lot more along the lines of Metal Gear Rising. I think a Demon Slayer game could be like phenomenal, and one of the best. Like it really lends itself to that kind of adaptation. Uh, I think if you streamline, I think if you cut all the fat out and cut out every single redundancy, like keep like the first arc, then like maybe one of the middle arcs, and then the Infinity Fortress. Then if you just have three arcs, you can make a pretty good movie or movie trilogy with Demon Slayer. I just think manga was not the right medium for this. It really wasn't. The only thing I can think of that would be worse is just books. book form. Uh, Letting my head there is a video game coming, isn't there? I don't know. I did hear something about maybe there being a Demon Slayer video game, but I haven't really seen anything from it. I hope it's not a fighting game. It would not make it as good of a fighting game. It should be like hack and slash adventure. Like you just play as Tanjiro, or maybe it was something like I fucking hate this game. I I I have more mixed feelings on it, but I fucking hate the franchise overall, and I despise it with a burning passion. And I think it's one of the most overrated pieces of trash as ever. But I think a Demon Slayer game in the style of Final Fantasy VII Remake or Final Fantasy 15 could be pretty freaking cool. You know, switching back and forth between Tanjiro, Nezuko, Zenitsu, and Inosuke. Picking up party members like the other pillars and going on this like kind of RPG. Uh, Maybe turn based, but I'm thinking more of the hybrid system that latter day Final Fantasy has. I think that would be really cool. Uh, Made by the same devs as Naruto Storm. I have faith in it then. Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storms games are awesome. Although those are fighting games, and again, like I said, I don't think Demon Slayer would translate as well to a fighting game. Not to say it won't work or that won't be cool or that I won't give it a shot, but uh, kind of getting married to this idea of a Final Fantasy 15 style Demon Slayer game now. So it's kind of where my mind's at. If I had to give this manga a score, I'd give it a solid 4 out of 10, honestly. I didn't care enough about the characters. There were exceptions. I like Kanoe, however you pronounce that name. I like Zenitsu. I like Ikaza. Ringoku was fine. Nezuko was cute. Uh, Muzan was effective until he, just wore out his welcome. But I didn't really care about Tanjiro as a main character, and for that, like, I can't give this any higher than a 5. And what brings it down to a 4 is that it's just not a well drawn or paced manga. Um, so yeah, that's all I have. I was really disappointed. I'm really sad that I decided to let this be one of the mangas that I read week to week. Um, like I kind of just disappointed. I feel like my time was wasted, and I don't like feeling like my time was wasted. I think this is the most overrated Shonen Jump series I've ever seen. So, any other calls for questions? And I didn't get any donations, did I? I need to stop forgetting about donations until the end. Gonna check that. I'm pretty sure I have notifications turned on, but you never know if those are gonna come through. I mean, yeah, it's on YouTube, so it's gonna automatically save. It's gonna take a bit to process, but it'll be up whenever YouTube decides it's up. Uh, just gotta check one thing. So if you like this, I don't know if I'm gonna do this for any other series, but maybe I will. Maybe I won't. I would like to do more podcasts like this, get some people on, but kind of need a better computer to do that. What's the worst shonen in your opinion? Uh, Of the ones I've read to completion, it's a toss-up between Demon Slayer and Bleach. Of the ones I've been exposed to at all, I'd probably say Fairy Tail. Though I have not, like, given Fairy Tail a significant shot. So that the verdict's kind of out on that one, and I'm not interested. I'm not interested in Demon Slayer, or I'm not interested in Fairy Tail, so I'll probably never read it. Oh no, the guy who wrote Fairy Tail, whatever shit he started writing after Fairy Tail, that's the worst shonen I've ever been exposed to. GQ Smith asked, "You gonna read JoJo?" Probably not. I kind of like just watching the anime. How do I? Maybe I should just check OBS. Yeah, I got no donations. Michael Jones has the best rant on Fairy Tail. Doesn't surprise me. Even though he's kind of in it, he's literally one of the characters in Fairy Tail. So I'd take that for what it is. Yeah. As far as GQ Smith's question, I have no interest in reading JoJo. I like the anime just fine. I don't like it enough to read ahead. I already know a lot of the big stuff that happens, so I'd rather just wait for the anime to come out and just watch it as it airs that way. Maybe if I really get hooked into Stone Ocean, I'll go ahead and read Steel Ball Run, or I doubt that'll happen, though. It didn't happen with Part 4, and it didn't happen with Part 5, so I doubt it'll happen with Part 6. It's just, I like it, but it's just okay for me. I don't know, I gave them all favorable reviews, though. But yeah, there's the JoJo Bizarre Adventure parts are so isolated that, like, I never feel the need to be like, man, I gotta read the manga now. Kind of like I did with Demon Slayer. Like, Demon Slayer, I got to the end, it's like, man, I can't wait for this movie to come out. I'm gonna read the manga. And now I'm here ranting about it. So yeah, JoJo, I'm not gonna read it. But that's it. Thank you all for stopping by and listening to me rant for an hour and some change about a manga I thought was kind of bad. uh, fuck. Support my Patreon, donate to Streamlabs, check out the Discord, follow me on Twitter, and, Summer of Love, starting tomorrow at noon, and every day for the next 100 days. I already have the first 5 videos completely edited.